Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Stephen McKee, and I'm with you today here in Bangalore, India, at Didac India exhibition and conference. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about transformation of education and some of our take on what is happening around the world in that area. I'm the president and founder of Labtech International, which is one of the top companies in technical and vocational education around the world, particularly for developing countries. We work in about 80 countries around the world, supplying solutions for technical education to all fields for employable skills such as automotive, electronics, electrical systems, IT, air conditioning, and most importantly now, green renewable energies with the climate issues, and also what we call virtual TVET, which centers upon how education is changing. I'm also privileged to be the president of WorldDidac and represent the global association of educational manufacturers around the world for interfacing and for educational development. So a few words about WorldDidac. We really are concerned about where education is going around in the world. It is one of the prime tools for economic development and for change in society. And WorldDidac is becoming a much more of a vocal global voice in the world for educational change and development and transformation. And it's part of our duty and good citizenship around the world to spread this word and to share best practices and share solutions to countries all over the world for how education may be made more effective in terms of learning, in terms of delivery and cost, lowering the cost of education as well. And WorldDidac is having a major impact. One of our partners here is this week in Bangalore. Next November we have our biannual signature event in Bern, Switzerland, which is going to be the WorldDidac conference and exhibition in Bern, Switzerland, November 2020. So I invite you all to come take a look at that and participate. Well, some very, very interesting events. Why is this so important now? Because the world's going through a lot of changes. We have a lot of political issues, we have a lot of economic change, we have also in the background this climate change. Just this week we've had protests from all around the world due to climate change. In New York there's a major conference as well, and people speaking out, particularly the youth, are very, very concerned about this. So these are situations not be solved by education, but education can lay the groundwork for change and for creating a better society and world. You know, we're all for providing basic education, for employable skills, for good governance, good citizenship around the world. And you know, the youth have a point that everything is just too slow to change, and that's true of education too. We're not active enough, we don't change enough, and part of that is due to the system. Now, we live in a world where we are faced with constant change. You know, constant change is exponential. It's been growing slowly over the past centuries, but it's just zooming off the charts right now to where change is happening more and more rapidly. I've worked in international education development for over 40 years. I've seen a lot of programs all around the world during that time, in Africa, in Latin America, in South Asia, Asia, Europe, US. And we are facing this onslaught of constant rising acceleration of change, but our system is moving so glacially to adapt to that change. And we need to find a better mechanism to do that. And this is part of the dialogue I think that WorldDidac is becoming involved with, is how do we affect systemic change for the benefit of people around the world. And that's on several fronts. Improving, which map, by the way, to the Sustainable Development Goals. Improving gender equality, improving employability for people around the world, basic education and literacy, building on that foundation which the first Millennium Goals delivered. What do we do next from there to improve our society? And being responsible global citizenship is one of those aspects. In my area in technical vocational education, which I'm an expert in many ways in terms of development of the facilities, we're seeing a tremendous potential right now through digitizing and virtualizing parts of education in the technical area. Why this is important? To a certain extent, this happened in academia already, but unlike academia, where it adds on to the cost of an existing program, by embedding it into technical vocational, it has the potential to lower the cost dramatically by 50 to 75%. My company Labtech is on the global forefront of doing this in an effective way, and we're seeing marvelous results also in upgrading teachers, because we have a problem with teachers that are in service. They've been in many countries already serving faithfully for 10 or 20 years. They have been left behind by the technological change because it's hard for them to get the resources to upgrade their skills and knowledge. Yet this is the key to change. Both my parents were educators. They were teachers, and they taught me one thing, is that if you want to change the education system, you need to change the teachers. If you do not bring the teachers with you and to spend your resources on developing them to be better, it doesn't matter all the new fancy tools that you have to put in their hands, they won't be able to use them to maximum effect. So we need to balance teacher training, curriculum development, updating the curriculum, using new technology. We need a holistic approach to balancing how we actually do educational development to have a better and more sustainable impact and effect. This is something that we talk about a lot for WorldDidac, and I was just in Manila a few weeks ago at the Asian Development Bank Skills Forum, where we were having a gathering of about 500 senior educators from all over Asia discussing how to better improve the implementation and design of educational projects so they could be more effective, could be more updated to offer the new forms of technology in a new way. And it got around to we have to also change the structures of our education system to reflect the modern day world. Just like our structures of communication have changed so much over the past few decades, we now communicate in different ways. We are actually learning in different ways, but yet education is still trying to deliver the same curriculum with the same methods in much of the world. And unless we change that, we will not be able to put into the hands of students the new tools for working, living, and playing also as well. And this brings us to the issues of Industry 4.0. We do a lot of speaking about this also as well. And we've held many workshops around the world. Over the past year, we've talked about, 2 years actually, we've talked about what is Industry 4.0 and spend a lot of time discussing the nuances of this. Recently, in several events, we've been talking about what are we going to do to respond to this, and those have been very interesting. And we came to conclusions that we actually need to look at changing strategically the structure of education to open it up to be more open-ended, open exit type systems, providing micro skills, teaching what I call just-in-time learning anywhere, and learning anywhere, anytime, learning around the world also as well. And if we do these types of things and have micro curriculums that add up into major degrees, we can put the knowledge into the hands of students and people working, knowledge when they need it, where they need it. But we do have to change the structure of education, otherwise it'll be irrelevant. We all know we have the YouTube age, that students now Google anything that they don't know, and that they look at a video when they want to learn something. So that is a good example of just-in-time learning. They want to cook a new recipe, so they Google it, they watch the video, and they cook it. When they need the information, they want to consume information just like they consume other things, and news and things like that. Information is almost becoming a commodity, something to be used, something to be consumed, used, and then hopefully retained too as well. But these new learning structures, they're not bad, but we do need to adapt to them. In fact, a lot of good could come from it if we leverage their power. Now, if we can look at the way that the educational structures are and change the system so that it could benefit from this, then we would be doing something very good. The other aspect is adult education. As we face rising levels of technology, what is being called the Industry 4.0 revolution, we have a lot of new tools and skills that we need to put into the hands of the students. We need to figure out what those are and how many students need to be, what is the demand for these skills in terms of quantitative and qualitative demand, and then deliver that. But not everybody will need to be trained in these skills. In fact, we are going to have a problem, particularly in developing countries, that we've realized recently. Many people shall be displaced. You know, the lower level repetitive jobs, such as in textiles or food industry or call centers, are going to disappear over the next 5 to 10 years. In some countries, I've been hearing that call centers will be disappearing within 3 to 5 years. That would be millions of people out of work in India and the Philippines. Those are good paying jobs. So where are we going to move and shift those people to? What is the next best job for them? Is the technical and vocational education system going to be there for them to retrain them so that they have an equal or better job? And this is a big question, and it's a challenge for us. Can we do this? Can we do it effectively? Can we do it timely? Or will we end up with people that will be dissatisfied with the lack of choice, because what do they move on to? Yes, there will be new jobs coming up from Industry 4.0, but one of my concerns is, will they be occurring in the same places that these displacements are? We may have people losing jobs in one place, but the new skills and new jobs go to another place. So globally it will balance out, but regionally and within a country will it balance out? And that's where we need to be a bit more prepared and do a bit more study. At WorldDidac, we're working with the Asian Development Bank to look at issues like that. And I'd be happy to share this around the world with people, with our friends and our colleagues. And certainly if you come to our event in Bern, there will be information like this and dialogue about this as well, so that we can engage and share between us. We've seen a lot of best practices from various countries around the world where good things are happening in the Philippines or Singapore or even India or Kenya. And so these types of information should be shared, and we should be able to learn from each other, both learn from the mistakes and the successes. That's what WorldDidac is about. It's where education comes together, and where we have everyone that's involved in planning and implementing education, providing the tools that are necessary to do modern education to help solve the problems and issues around the world. I hope that we can be a small part in helping the global community to better work together and learn together effectively around the world. That's the mission of WorldDidac. It's also the mission of Labtech too, in the vocational technical sphere. And we want to be able to apply, to continue to assist millions of children in thousands of schools around the world to have a better life and a better future. So, with that, it's been a pleasure to talk here. That's why this type of exhibition is very, very important. I'm standing in one corner of the exhibition, looking out at 200 or so booths on display here that offer a wide variety of solutions and have a dialogue of how we can improve what we do and how to make it more effective, how to make change more systemic and less traumatic also for those of us that are involved. This is an exciting time to be involved in education. I've been in this business for 40 years, and I've never been more thrilled and excited at the prospects of what we can achieve together. So we invite you all to dialogue, come to events like this, and let us make the world a better place. Thank you so much.